Podcast, WATP.
John was watching the election coverage on Tuesday night. He went to his brother-in-law's house, who's like 3 hours away from where he lives. This is what he's claiming. And then they went over to his brother-in-law's buddy's house. And so John was watching the election with them. Now, the problem here is that these guys were watching Fox News. So you can understand what that means. They might not be on the same side as John as they're watching this election coverage. And it wasn't going the way John wanted it to. So apparently he was getting pretty fired up about that.
And Vince, you would have Vince, I was sandwiched between two financial guys and watching the election results. I literally almost stood up and punched my brother-in-law in the fucking face.
So that's where you were?
Yeah. And I was so fucking pissed. I thought he was saying something about me. It wasn't. He was saying something about the election.
What did he say?
I can't remember. I was in the bathroom and I came out and I thought he was saying something about me, and I went up to him with every intention of fucking punching him in the face.
At your brother-in-law's house?
No, it wasn't at his house. It was at his friend's house.
What a great house guest you are.
So this is why I'm fascinated by this. I love a peek into the real Stuttering John Melendez. Not performative John, not this is what I want people to goof on John. This is him being honest with something that actually happened. He's wasted. Mm-hmm. He doesn't remember what was said.
Allegedly.
He's all upset because what's going on with the election. He gets out of the bathroom and he's ready to punch his brother-in-law, who's his best friend. He talks about his brother-in-law glowingly all the time. Brother-in-law does a lot of stuff for him.
What did he hear that set him off? Loser retard?
This is my guess, and I have no idea. I'm just speculating based on what I just heard from John. Is that he was talking shit about John and what an idiot he is. And Jack is always like, "You talking about me?" He's like, no. We were just talking about the guy on the TV. Because they probably were looking at each other like, is this guy for fucking real? Does he know anything about politics? They're probably goofing on it when he went up to use the bathroom.
I just drank all my booze.
Isn't it weird, like liberals, when it's not swinging their way, their first reaction is like, I'm going to punch somebody.
Yeah, violence.
I want to hit somebody. I want to shoot somebody. Like the number of videos I've seen over the last couple of days, like since the election, it's wild, man.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's like if Kamala loses or the Dodgers win, either way, they're reacting the same way. We're flipping cars over. Seems odd to me. Okay. So John owes Vince the lawyer money. As we all know, there was a $12.5 million lawsuit that was settled out of court. And the settlement, although no one has disclosed the figures, what we know is that John is paying Vince in installments. He has a payment plan. And we believe that also Vince is making a percentage of Super Chat money that's coming in on the YouTube channel. So again, and if anyone wants to tell me I'm wrong on this, I'm all ears. This is real John. Because John really owes money to Vince. And John really doesn't want to pay Vince the money that he owes him. And he thinks he can get out of it. I believe this is the real John trying to weasel his way out of this.
So is it true that the Shitwayer and Lady K were saying that you don't have any money and all this, and you called your bank account, one of your many bank accounts, and you had over $2 million in the bank?
Well, maybe, but again, I didn't like the bit, but it was just annoying because I think I did it twice. One time where they said I didn't make like $120,000 in a month, 1 month from the YouTube channels we own, and then I think the other time, yeah. So what's the issue though?
Well, since you have all this money.
Oh, yeah. What's the issue? I get it. So, Vince, so you have all this money. So why do I really have to make my next payment?
Yeah,
is that where you're going?
Fucking shake me down, Vince. If you're a multimillionaire, I mean, fucking hell, man. Can't we just be friends and call it a day?
No, John, you have to oblige by the obligations.
You don't have to accept the money if you don't want it. You could easily send it back to me after I send it.
Actions have consequences, you know that. And by the way, John, you beat me. If you think about how much I had to spend, when it nets out, you beat me by as much as you want. When you did what you did, you had a goal in mind to harm me. It harmed me financially.
But that was your own doing.
Okay. this is nuts right here. So John's mentality is that you have more money than me, so why would I give you money? It's like, why doesn't Nike just give me Air Jordans? They have so much money. They can't just give me a pair of sneakers. What's their problem?
Yeah, I use that with my bank, with my mortgage, and it didn't work.
It doesn't work that way. Yeah. No. I believe it was Bill Gates on The Simpsons who said, I didn't get rich by writing checks. It's like, no. You owe me money, and I'm going to give you money. Now, John tried to turn this into, now he's blaming Vince. Like, you forced me to do this. At the end, what John did is he reported Vince to the New York State Bar Association. And the reason why he did that is because Vince took some photos of his house or something and pretended he was at John's house. And John got very upset. He thought Vince was breaking into his house. This is when he was in California, his house in Florida. And he thought Vince was breaking into his house. So then he reported him to try to get him disbarred. This is, if everyone believes that Vince the lawyer is actually a lawyer and he's a practicing law, then this would ruin his life. And remember, this is what John does. Someone plays a prank on him, and he wants your life ruined in return. And in John's mind, that was the right thing to do. He's like, well, Vince, I had no other choice. Of course I'm going to try to ruin your life. I don't know why you're suing me. This is crazy. Why would I give you money now? And it gets even worse than that. We've heard this one before.
The point being, Vince, is you started, not me. Take some accountability. Actions do have reactions. Study Newton's third law of motion. You were the one who started it, and I just fucking responded.
He started it. So therefore, John can try to ruin his life. I mean, Vince did something mean to him first, so therefore, John can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Your Honor, I cite the First Blood Amendment.
Right, yes.
He is, like, I have to hand it to him. He is quite adept at placing R's where they don't belong, like lore. It's like, where's law? Like,
it's crazy. So John is like pleading with Vince not to take. John is so poor. And what I loved about this episode, I was watching it with Jen, and I was like, oh my God, this is all finally coming out, how poor he is. He always pretends he's got tons of money.
Yeah.
Always. That's one consistent thing that John does.
Sure, he pretended that was his boat for a second.
Correct. We're going to get into that.
Yay.
No, for sure. We're going to get into all of that because that is nuts. This boat saga this week is, like I said before, he's gone full Zubak with this. It's crazy. But now John is pleading with Vince not to take his money.
I believe if you're a multimillionaire, why are you shaking down somebody?
It's not a shakedown, John. We have an agreement. It could have been a lot worse for you.
Yeah, but you could waive it.
What a child.
What a child. Dude, we have an agreement. It's written that we have this agreement. You owe me this money. It's like, yeah, but you don't have to take my money if you don't want to. It's like, I want to. I want to take
As
your
it
money.
turns out.
Yeah, guess what, John? I want to take your money. You owe me money. Give me my money. This is the guy who says, fuck you, pay me all the time, stuttering John. And now when he has to pay, he's like, oh, come on. Can't we just be buddies instead and be friends? John still doesn't understand.
He's mad about it. He's angry about it.
For sure. He's a poor guy who doesn't have a lot of money, and now he has to give money to Vince. He feels like, remember,
a millionaire.
Yeah, remember when this lawsuit was happening? John was so scared. He was freaking the fuck out about this lawsuit. Anyone who put 12.5 in chats, he pretended he didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
He was freaking out. Once they settled this, he was on cloud nine. I don't know if you guys remember this, but once they settled the lawsuit, all the stress was gone. I don't owe anyone money. This is great. And now he doesn't even want to pay the money that he was all excited about. I only have to pay this much money. He was bragging about how little money he had to pay Vince. And now he can't even afford that. And he won't pay him.
In installments.
Right. As a payment plan.
Yeah.
That they explained as a six-month payment plan. And he hasn't paid one yet. It was supposed to be October. He didn't pay October. Now he's got November. He hasn't paid November. He's trying to weasel his way out of it. And so he has an excuse on why he can't pay him, which, again, proves that John is poor, which we all knew, which I'm not saying is like, wow, can you believe it? It's just amazing that John's finally admitting that.
This is why I'm going to tell you why. I got to file my tax returns, and I owe my accountant $1,000. So, and if I don't pay him, he's not going to do my taxes, and I got to do my taxes. So,
See, this is how you get me. You're going to get me every month with a sob story.
No, not every month, but just like
Just the first two that you were obligated to do something.
Just look, Vince, just waive the November and then I'll start paying in December. Come on, man.
If you want, maybe we'll push it back if you want.
Yeah,
but
just push it back to December, please.
Maybe. Look, I got to talk to Brittany too. We have to amend the documents. We can't just make changes to an agreement and not have it amended.
Did you change your documents when they didn't pay in October?
No, I mean, we have to still do that.
You're right. This is real, John.
This is real John.
Yeah.
Which is weird because why, if this is real, why would you bring this up on a show? It's so embarrassing.
Because that's real, John.
He doesn't know. He's so desperate. He can't, he doesn't have the money. He can't pay this money. And so maybe he's trying to like put Vince on the spot so that we all see. Because, okay, actually that does answer the question, because I'm going to show you in a little bit that John changes this conversation 2 days later. You just heard Vince say, maybe we can back it up and start payments in December.
Oh.
And John changes that to, oh, I don't have to pay November anymore.
Like when a child hears maybe from one of the parents.
But it's more than that, though. Vince is saying, I'll play it again. Vince is saying, we'll change the schedule. It's supposed to be October. Let's say it's 6 months. That's what they keep saying.
Sure.
So October through, what would it be? March would be 6 months. So Vince is saying, all right, we can move it so that it's December through May. And John's thinking, oh, if I start in December, it's still just to March.
Yeah.
So that in John's mind, he's getting away with 2 months not having to pay, where Vince is saying just the opposite. Let me see if I can pick up on this again.
Get me. You're going to get me every month with a sob story.
No, not every month, but just like,
just the first two that you were obligated to do something.
Just look, Vince, just waive the November and then I'll start paying in December. Come on.
Waive November. That's the question. That's the request.
Oh, man.
If you want, maybe we'll push it back if you want.
Yeah.
Push it back. So very different.
Yeah, very different.
Than what John is asking for. But John doesn't understand how any of this works. And here's another thing that John admits, I think, for the first time ever, because even when I had a private conversation on the phone with John, he brags about how good he is with investments and stocks and his stock portfolio. And that's why he's so rich, because he invests his money. He's so good at that kind of stuff. I mean, Bryan, you've heard this many times.
Yeah, he just said that his stocks went through the roof when Trump won.
Right. Correct.
That's what he said.
That's what he said earlier in this episode, now that I think about it. That's one of the first things he said in this episode. And now the truth comes out.
Would you sell stock?
Well, if I had to do that to pay a legal settlement that I had to do.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
See, here's the issue. And I know you're going to laugh at me. Vince, I bought Disney at 176 a share. It's down to 98.
Yeah, that's foolish.
I'm taking a bath, so I don't want to sell at a loss. Would you?
Well, it depends, John. It doesn't matter. It's already there. I only own NVIDIA, which we've owned for a long, long time, and that's pretty much it.
And I bought Ford, which is down immensely.
Ford? What the fuck? We're buying buggy whips?
I've never heard John talk about making bad decisions in investments before. And now all of a sudden he owes money to this guy, and he's talking to him. He's just like, dude, I can't even afford it. Even if I sold my stock, all my investments are down. I don't have any money in there. Oh, shucks.
Well, also, if he sells that Disney stock at a loss, surely he can write it off against one of his other stocks that's made tons of money.
Right. Yes. Good point, Bryce. See, Bryan actually understands how this stuff works. Also, and Vince's response is right about that. John's trying to play this game where it's like, well, I can't sell it because I bought it for this amount. It's like, yeah, well, it could be half of what it is now in 5 years. So
Yep.
It is what it is. If you need money and you have money, sell it, get the money, and pay the person you owe money to.
It's still money at this point.
Right. Yes, it is. It is. You own what it's worth. So it doesn't matter what you bought it for. It's not a game. You owe money to Vince and he wants his money. So this is crazy. Again, real John came out on this episode, because how many times does he call, he goes, Carl, just do it. And he does that affect and everyone goes, you're calling Carl gay. And he goes, no. I'm not calling him gay. I'm just saying that's how he says that. It has nothing to do with gay. It's just saying that's how he says, just do it.
Sure.
He said this many, many times. Well, it finally comes out. He's calling me gay.
Oh, get this, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, the Duke had an espresso martini last night. Just do it.
You did?
The Duke had an espresso martini last night. Just do it. Because remember, when Kate Meany's boyfriend had an espresso martini, he called him a fat. Those are John's words, not mine. He said the guy was a fat. So he equates espresso martinis with being gay. And he just said, I had an espresso martini, just do it. Therefore, Carl is gay.
And look how pleased he is with himself.
I know, he's so stupid. Hey, guess what? I had that thing that I called gay. Cool. And then Honest John, because now he's talking to a guy he owes money to, tells another truth.
Yeah, and these guys got me, Vince. I didn't buy a boat. I was on my friend's boat.
You're such an asshole. So you lied to me about that too?
Yeah, I was just fucking around. You know, I mean, I can't afford a boat.
I mean,
He's
no
being
one
real.
was fooled.
He's being real though. Like, I mean, he is the type that would be like, "Hey, here's my boat," and then, you know, I sold it, or I
Right.
got you guys. You know,
Yep.
you're the idiots for believing it.
No, I know, right? Because there's nothing in it for him here. He just literally can't pay back Vince, and he's looking for Vince to have some sympathy and go, "Yeah, I get it, man. I got tons of money. I don't need your $2,000 or whatever it is." And Vince, you know, to his credit, is not budging on this because it is the better bit to watch him squirm. But it's crazy that John was on this boat, bragging about it, giving us the tour of the boat. Everyone thought it was not his boat. He didn't fool anyone. And then he comes out and he goes, I know, I didn't even buy a boat. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good.
He really got us.
Good one. And that's going to come back around on Friday's show that we're going to see in just a minute. But this is another thing that was crazy in this episode. I'm telling you, this was the most compelling segment of John's show in many months, because he's telling all of these truths and he's never once admitted that he's made bad investments. And then we find out why he buys the stocks that he buys, where he gets the information from.
Well, I don't know if this is defamation, but I signed up for that Motley Fool thing, and like 7 out of the 8 picks bombed.
It was 1994 Motley Fool.
No, it was like 2 years ago, and the only one that did well is the Lucan Coffee one. Every other one bombed.
What else did they recommend?
Like, I mean, like, all these shitty, like
Ford.
Skills,
Yeah, right.
SKILLC.
Yeah, I know the company.
Yeah, and every fucking thing tanked.
So John subscribed to the Motley Fool. He fell for this investment advice package, purchased this thing. So now if that had all made money, he'd be like, yeah, I know how to pick stocks. I'm smarter than all you guys.
Yeah.
I understand how this all works. I understand the market. That's why I made these picks. But then when he loses money, I took the advice of this online thing that tricked me into it. The Motley Fool.
He doesn't want to defame them, though, he said.
I was going to say, any company he mentions is defamation because it's him.
Yeah, you're a customer? I don't want to work with them. I just want to point out how bad this is, because he said that 2 years ago, he bought all these stocks. So if I just zoom into 2 years ago, this is how much the Dow is up. This is how much the market is up. It's up huge from where it was 2 years ago. It's up 10,000 points. And John somehow bought stock that all lost money. It's pretty incredible. Gotta love it. So then Thursday's show, pretty non-eventful. You know, he started off the show on Wednesday talking about, all right, Trump won. You guys made a bad decision. Even the people who voted for Trump, it's going to go bad for you. You don't realize it. But then he starts watching MSNBC. And so now he's got a new narrative.
But let's face it, folks. It wasn't 4 years ago the election was rigged. It was this time.
So that's what happens when you watch MSNBC. It's like, oh, people actually liked Kamala Harris. She was very popular, but the election was rigged. Oh, okay.
This smugness
Yeah, I know.
that comes along with like, oh, guess what? Fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Here's the way it
just because
really
he
is.
watched Rachel Maddow. He watches Rachel Maddow, who says the thing. He's just like, I know more than you know. The most slanted news channel there is. You're like, okay, sure. Actually, you know what? I didn't want to play a lot from this episode because there's a lot going on. But you know when he gets situated when he first starts his show?
Yeah.
He's got
Right.
nothing prepared or ready. I sped it up. It's kind of fun to watch in fast motion, him getting situated.
And now, as it members, And I was able to get rid of some of these losers. So
Oh, yeah. I have that clip too, and I won't play it. He starts off, he's chugging Gatorade. He's not centered. He's got the green screen off to the side, and he just starts blocking people. That's the first thing he does on the show. Anyone who's typing L or anything about Trump, he's just blocking them. And remember, he was supposed to start a job on Wednesday, a 9-to-5 job that was paid 6 figures. With all the lies going on, you forget about that was another lie that he had. He's just, I'm going away soon. Oh, Shuey's going to be upset. I'm going away soon. He's not going to know what to do. And nothing has changed. He's just still doing his show every single day. And so he starts off by blocking, and then watch this.
End of the day, it's worth it to me. Get rid of some of the riprap. Can I take this one? I don't know. Maybe not. Oh, boy. Make sure I got my mic on. Check. All right. Got rid of most of the children. I'm getting this fucking screen, man. Get the fucking box out of my fucking way. Fucking pain in my fucking ass, this fucking thing.
He's pouring something. He's got a stupid stroke arm up.
Zip up my pants.
He really has gone full zoom out.
Oh, shit. Skull.
How could you be that unprepared?
Well, there's something rotten in Denmark.
There's a box next to him that he's like kicking into.
Fucking box.
Yeah, green screens.
Who put that there?
That's the name of his cat, Box. Give him a kick.
I hope not. All right. So let's fast forward to Friday, because Friday John comes on his show, and there's a theory going on, and I might subscribe to it. John's house, of course, is in his mom's name. He sold his house for $10 to Osa. It was already in her name to begin with, but then he actually sold it. We've seen the documentation of this.
Did she ever receive the $10?
That's a good question. I'm good for it, Mom. I just got to pay back kids.
Can't you just wave it?
We're friends. So there is a theory that because the house is in Osa's name and she owns it, that she's also paying bills and she's controlling the thermostat.
Oh.
Now, I've heard about this before. Forget who was talking about this, but like with Airbnbs. Mm-hmm. Oh, I think it was Rocco was talking about, he stayed at this Airbnb and it was in Georgia. And so he was setting the thermostat down to 72 or 70.
Telling us this.
And then it would go back up to 80 or 78. And he's just like, what the fuck? So he finally reached out to the owner. They're like, oh, yeah, you can't mess with the thermostat. It's an extra $50 for every degree lower you want it. He's like, what? It's crazy. It is expensive. I can tell you, even when I'm not at my house in Florida, the bills are high to, keep it, whatever, relatively cool. And so I don't know that John has control over his own thermostat because this sounds crazy.
This is amazing. I'm still sweaty. I had the temperature on at 80 because I don't know. I guess I get cold at night. I don't know why.
I had the temperature on at 80 because I don't know. I think I get cold at night. I don't know why. Huh?
My parents keep their thermostat at 75 because they're 80.
Right? Yeah, that makes sense.
But I do. And then when I got home from the gym, got out of the shower, I was sweating like a goddamn pig.
Yeah, it's a sauna.
So anyway, I mean, I'm fucking hot as fuck in here. So bear with me for a second here.
Then turn it down.
Yeah.
Why
It's
wouldn't you
not
turn
night
it down
anymore, right? You're not
Right.
cold. It's not night.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. 80 degrees in a house is crazy. That is so uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's
what is he
bad.
doing?
And wouldn't he be hotter just after the gym when he walked in as opposed to after the shower?
He always sweats when he gets out of the shower. It's so weird. I don't know what that is. Maybe Dr. Steve knows what that is. It's crazy. He's so greasy and gross. Troy Smith says he looks like the Nixon mask in Point Break. He kind of does.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's a good observation. All right, so now we're going to bring Clay Dabbler in. It's Clay Day on Fridays, and Clay Dabbler comes in to discuss the boat work that John did, where he pretended he had a boat, then he admitted he didn't have a boat, And that was some gag.
So the best, Clay, is this whole, does John have a boat? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's hilarious. It's funny, isn't it? It's funny how your two off-the-cuff works in 1 week were better than Shuley's 2-month load of bollocks that he did with Kumia that nobody give a fuck about. Thought was.
I got to pause it right there. What Clay is referring to here is John saying he was starting a job, 9 to 5, that's 6 figures, and will be off the internet, and John saying he bought a boat. No one believed either of those things. No one did. You can look at Dabblers Anonymous. You can go back and watch Uncle Rico. You can watch my appearance on Uncle Rico. You can watch WATP. No one was buying any of this. We all just said, yeah, okay, whatever, John, you're lying. And Clay comes on and goes, those were good works. Now, the reason why the Anthony Cumia work was better is because all of a sudden John was calling Anthony a hero and talking about how him and Anthony are good. And he stopped making fun of Anthony when Missy B got brought up by Rob Salt. He's calling her all these names. He wouldn't say anything because he thought that he was friends with Anthony. So we got to change his behavior based on him thinking that Anthony was in his corner. That's why that was better than John lying and none of us believing it. This is, again, full Zumach. It's like when Chad was like, I'm buying a gun and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. We all went, no, you're not. And he goes, no, I know. I'm going to buy a house in Carl's neighborhood. No, you're not. No, I know. Cool. Good stuff. I got punched by a guy that says Kumia country. No, you didn't. No, I know.
Yeah, the thing with the Anthony and Shuley thing is it worked.
Right.
Yeah.
It got John to think that was happening.
Like you said, nobody believed the 9 to 5 and nobody believed the boat.
Not for a second.
And even like when what is the payoff? Like, I can't really afford a boat. What are you, crazy?
Yeah. That's actually worse for the person doing the work. Does he not realize that? It's crazy.
It's retarded.
But here's the funny thing.
That's a work, John. Are you, shit. Oh, and another thing, I got to congratulate you. Oh, is that your sign you made for me? At a special tape.
Okay, so John now is holding up a stop sign. And when I tell you if your kindergartner did this at school, you'd have to consider special needs education.
Yes.
This is so bad. And John holds this up. He's all proud, but he's got this new sign when Clay's talking too much to get him to stop. Basically, it's a octagon plate, right? With stop in white tape.
Scotch tape, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Meep, meep.
But the funniest thing is Pinky.
I like your effort, John. I like your effort. That's good.
Is busy with this, like he's like thinking, I told you John couldn't afford a boat. Now, Clay, I mean, let me just say, first of all, I can afford a boat. And who's to say I don't have a boat?
Oh,
but
Jesus
to watch
Christ.
Pinky go crazy and think, all I had to do was I'm hearing myself back.
Okay. So now, John, Vince isn't there.
Yep.
So now he can be like, I can afford a boat.
That's the difference.
Oh, you can afford a boat? Can you afford to pay me the money that you owe me?
Right.
He's a child.
Yeah.
It gets worse, too. But this is John talking about the house and why it's in his mom's name, explaining that.
And I bought my house. Now, why is it in my mother's name? That's very simple. Because my credit sucks.
I don't know why he has to take his pills during his show, but that's become a thing again. Where he's always taking his medication during the show, and it's so obnoxious.
And
and
perfect. So I use my mother's credit to get cheaper rates. But that's all it is.
and it stopped.
I mean, I bought it. It's my house. It's not my mother's.
It's nothing to do to stop like nefarious little lawyers trying to take shit.
Yeah, well, that too. I mean, I always do that.
It's so
What the
annoying. He
fuck?
just keeps shoving more and more pills in his mouth.
Yeah, without taking a drink, without washing anything down.
Yeah, he just holds them in his mouth.
It's so gross.
Okay, so he says, I own the house. We put it in my mom's name because she has good credit, and I wanted a cheaper rate. And people are saying that's mortgage fraud. So I looked this up. There's a version of mortgage fraud known as straw buying. It's using a person with good credit to secure a mortgage for someone who doesn't meet the minimum requirements. The following characteristics can signal the use of straw buyers, according to Fannie Mae. An entity other than the borrower makes the mortgage payment. So if his mom's making the payments, or if he's making the payments, that would be mortgage fraud. And then also, the buyer doesn't intend to occupy the home. So that's very interesting because she does not occupy the home. It's her name, it's her house with her credit score, and he lives there. So if he's making the payments, that's fraud. And if she's not living there, that's fraud. That's two different things that show that that's mortgage fraud. And later on, he calls up Vince during this segment and talks to Vince about it on the phone. And even Vince is like, yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Hey, Vince, are you there?
Yeah.
I only called you because this idiot Pinky Brennan is somehow thinking that you can't like I can't use my mom's credit to buy a house.
It all depends on the documents, what you disclose to them, what the bank required. Now, if the bank required both you and your mom to live there, then that's a different situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but all my mom has to be here is once every year for 1 week.
Says who?
Says that's the agreement. Like that's how it works. So she's the lead in the mortgage, but it's my money that bought the house.
So John made that up. She has to be here 1 week a year. According to who? According to what? What do you mean? That's a timeshare. That's not ownership of a house. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, either way, John, as long as the bank was aware and your mom's aware and she's not breaking any of the terms, you should be okay.
Yeah, I know. No, but I'm saying Pinky doesn't even understand that it's possible to do it that way.
And again, can you just relay the message? He said he's going to sue me for defamation because I called him an Irish drunk gambler. I had no idea if he was Irish or not, so I apologize.
Okay. So you just heard Vince say Kevin Brennan's going to sue me for calling him an Irish drunk gambler. And the joke is, I didn't know he was Irish.
Yeah.
Now, will John get the joke?
Probably not.
Definitely not. He's a fucking moron.
Well, it doesn't matter. I think Brennan is an Irish name, and I repeated it. Yes, I
Even Clay Dabbler doesn't fucking sit there and be like, John, that was a joke, you idiot. How are you not picking up on this? Vince is so much smarter than John. He's treating him like he treats high-pitch Eric. John's a whack packer. He's nothing more than a whack packer.
And John agrees with everything that Vince just said on the phone. Mm-hmm. Then why'd you call Vince?
Oh,
just to say this guy's being a jerk to me?
Well, no, he wanted Vince to be like, yeah, of course that's the rules. Of course you could do that.
Yeah.
And Vince was like, I don't know. Is that the agreement you guys had? I'm not sure. What do you mean a week? Who said that?
Right.
Could you imagine if that's what was the mortgage agreement was? I will live in this house 1 week a year? It's bizarre.
I think he's a drunk Irish gambler as well.
Yeah,
Angry, drunk Irish gambler.
Apologize. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Fuck you, Vince.
Okay. So that's bizarre because people have been saying that it's mortgage fraud. I'm starting to believe that it's mortgage fraud. And John is just claiming this on the internet. It's amazing how many laws John breaks and then declares them to everyone on the internet. It's weird to me. See,
but has workarounds like the week. She only has to be there for a week.
Yeah, as long as she's there for a week. And I don't think she's ever been there. The house is not... if Mama Melendez ever sets foot in that house, she's going to be so upset.
John turned the thermostat down to 72.
that house is so disgusting. It's not even clean in the place he sits to do his podcast. He's stepping on shit. We know what happened when his friends came over for the hurricane. They pulled out a bucket and a mop for that wet ass pussy. It's ridiculous. I've never once had someone go to my house and feel compelled to mop. That's insane. All right. Now, John's talking directly to Kevin Brennan. This whole thing, and I watched Kevin's rebuttal to this. It's so childish what's going on. Even more so than my rebuttal to Aaron Nibble yesterday on this little piggy. It's so childish what's going on between these two. John's going, I have more money than you. I can afford a boat. Kevin's going, you don't have a boat. You don't have more money than me. And it's just back and forth with all this. So now John has decided, well, I don't want Kevin to think I don't own a boat. I want him to think I do own a boat.
You fucking drunk Irish gambler. Guess what, Pinky? I do own a boat.
Do you really?
Yes.
So is that your boat?
Yes.
It's hard to tell, John.
Well, I was in a random canal. That's not where it's... I was going to keep it at a friend's canal. The hurricane, his fucking lift is fucked up. You don't want to keep the boat on a lift. I mean, just on a slip because the barnacles will be crazy. So so it's at a marina. But this fucking Pinky, he's so stupid. And all I had to do was say to Vince, I'm doing it to irritate Pinky. And he did a whole show yesterday about how I don't have a boat.
It's like a child getting caught in a lie and then doubling down on it. Mm-hmm. Oh, what'd you do over summer break? Oh, I was a firefighter and I put out a fire at a house because they made me a firefighter.
That didn't happen, did it, Carl?
No, yeah, no, it did.
I put out 2 fires.
I put out 2 fires. Actually.
Okay, sure.
I talked to your mom. She said you were not a firefighter. My mom's a liar. I don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Sure as hell I'm a firefighter. I do own a boat. You just said 2 days ago you don't own a boat. No, but I do, though.
It's at a friend's canal.
Oh, it's hilarious. Speaking of which, it reminds me of the doctor he knows who owns an airport.
Oh, right.
Remember he was going to start the Stuttering John Comedy Club? That was a big announcement that he had around the time he was also going to start a job, and he was going to have this comedy club. And apparently, from my inside guy, from what I heard, that this conversation he was having with the doctor about starting a comedy club, the doctor thought that John was going to put money into this.
Oh.
And John thought the doctor was going to put all the money into it and that he would just MC. He would just be there to MC every night. And so the doctor's like, no, we're not doing that at all. So they've had a falling out. And John's no longer working with the doctor. You're not going to hear anything about airports and private jets to the Keys.
There's a certain type of personality that needs to announce things before they've come to fruition.
Yes.
Even no matter how unlikely it is to happen, they still feel compelled to announce it.
Yeah, remember he was going to get some role in Hollywood or something? He had some big break or something like that just last year when he was still living in LA. It's nonstop with him declaring victories that will never come to fruition. All right, so now that he's declared that he does own a boat, like he did, and then he didn't, and now he does. Obviously, Clay's confused. He's like, all right, well, I guess this is a double work.
It's a double work. It's not
even a work, though.
Well, no, but in a way, you said you had a boat and you didn't have a boat, and now you do have a boat.
Maybe I do.
It's kind of a work.
How's that a gotcha?
How is that a gotcha? It's so insane to me. When a guy who you owe money to was talking to you, didn't own a boat. I believe that.
I do.
That's the one that I believe right there. I believe you can't afford a boat and you won't afford a boat. Also, and this is a weird phenomenon. I know John has a pension and maybe he's dipped into another pension of his or something. But John is one of the one professions in the world where everyone can see how much money he makes. Yep. Like we literally, people keep track of this shit. He's not making a lot of money. He can't afford a boat. Nor should he want to. It's a really bad idea to buy a boat based on his situation.
Yeah, like if you can't even keep your air conditioning at a decent level, you don't think about buying a boat. It's not for you.
But it's funny that Clay's calling this a work. Like, oh, it's a double work. And John's like, no, it's not a work. Because John's a pathological liar. He just lies all the time. He's like, no, a work would involve like multiple people involved in it to get one over on someone,
with a
have
big
a payoff.
Yes.
Right. That's like what a work would be. John's just a guy who just lies all day long every day. He's like, no, Clay, it's not a work. I'm just lying. Like, that's what I do. Okay, cool. Good stuff. And all right, let's get back to paying Vince. Because now he's going to talk to Clay about this after that Wednesday episode that everybody saw where he's groveling. He's going to lie about what happened.
I see you managed to swerve Vince's payment again this month.
Yes, he managed to. It's so funny because I talked to Vince this morning, and I'm like, "You told me you'd waive November. Don't you remember? I told you about my accountant." And he goes, "Oh, all right. We'll talk."
That's not what happened.
No, we just saw what happened.
No, he said he'd push it back.
And that was a maybe.
Maybe. He did not say he would waive November. And now John's changed it into, no, you said you would waive November.
He goes, all right. We'll talk about it on Monday. I go, but no, you gave me your word. You would reduce it to 5. I said 5 instead of 6. 5
Nope.
payments.
That did not happen.
So he did say it, right, Clay?
Yeah, he did.
He did. So
Clay's body language. He went, yeah, he did.
Yeah, sure,
He's
why
even
not?
shaking his head no while he says it. Watch this. This is Clay's just like, yeah, whatever you say, boss.
he did say it, right, Clay?
Yeah, he did.
He did. So I'm gonna keep you to your word, counselor. Don't
Verbal contract.
So then he says to me, okay, so when do you owe me? I go, I'll start paying December 26th. And he goes, and I go, that's right. You're not going to be the Vince that stole Christmas, are you?
Yeah, he would.
Oh my God.
Can't wait to see the presents John buys.
He literally says, he goes, my kids want to get Christmas presents. I guarantee he doesn't buy his kids Christmas presents. They wouldn't accept him if he did. Like, Dad, we're good. Don't worry about us.
Isn't he against laughing at your own jokes?
Yes, he has been in the past. But he is a culprit of that. He loves him. He's like, the Vince who stole Christmas. Get it? Yeah. Good stuff.
And I can hear his next phone call with Vince. Clay said,
Yeah.
he heard you.
Clay, Dirty Deeds heard you say that. Clay heard you say that. Robert Myers. It's like, Jesus, John. There's an agreement you guys signed off on. You owe him money. You need to pay him money for that. Oh, this is crazy. That stop sign that John keeps flaunting. This is some reveal right here.
Sort of, we're guessing what's John's job. Stop in the name of love.
Oh, God, Clay is so annoying. Even when you show him stop, he makes it even worse. No, stop talking. Stop singing. Stop making noise out of your mouth. Stop it.
Dirty Deeds came up with that. He goes, John, you got to have like a stop sign if Clay starts to
John didn't even come up with that idea. Dirty Deeds told him to make a stop sign. John's so devoid of anything creative. He couldn't even come up with a bit.
Where the fuck did you get that from?
Dirty Deeds. So then I
What, he sent you that? Oh, God. Sorry.
So I got to put this closer. So I went to the Home Depot. I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to get a stop sign. I know Lady Kid's going to go, John, he just do it. Like, he should have just went to the printing shop and got and printed out a stop sign and put it on a wood. I'm like, no.
And that's not you being gay.
Right. I mean, obviously he thinks I'm gay. But also, would that be my take on this? John doesn't understand how we work over here at all. I know Lady K is going to say he should have gone to a printing shop. It's like, no, you should have done the bit at all. It's stupid. Yeah. It's lame. You look retarded.
I was at Target.
Classic Lady K.
Yeah, right. Now, if I had a funny stop sign gag, what I would have done, fucking idiot.
I'm like, no. I was at Target buying steaks.
And he even is having this debate with himself in his head. This is the definition of living rent free in somebody's head right here. Where he's like, now, Lady K. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it that way. It's like, I didn't say any of these things to you, John.
So I punched him in the face.
I came out of the bathroom like this. This guy's insane.
To get a stop sign. I know Lady Kid's gonna go, John, he just do it. Like, he should have just went to the printing shop and got and printed out a stop sign and put it on a wood. I'm like, no. I was at Target buying steaks and chicken and kitty litter, and I was like, and beer, of course. And I was like, fuck it. So I found these Christmas octagon plates for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And some white tape. I found the ruler for 99 cents and this white tape.
Jesus.
And there it is.
It's worse than you thought.
And that's the story of the lamest bit ever.
Yes, wow.
By the way, Clay, you have to Venmo me the money for all of those supplies.
Yes. Hey, John, I'll give you a little advice right now. Behind the scenes stuff, save that for Patreon. Put that behind the paywall. Like, if you want to know how the stop sign came to fruition, I'm going to break it all down for you.
He could teach a class on how to make one.
I have one more clip on here because it's the most embarrassing clip. Yay. These dorks start flexing their biceps at each other to show each other how tough they're. I've been using the word child a lot during this presentation, and I have to say, John has become so childish. It's insane what's going on.
Hey, Clay.
Ooh.
Look at this.
Not bad, Johnny. Not bad. I don't feel like my lighting's good enough. So gay. So it's kind of embarrassing doing that, John. For me personally. Toes looking crispy.
Oh, God.
kind of embarrassing. I like the guy goes, it's kind of embarrassing that we're flexing our muscles right now on the screen. Oh, and John's like, I'll make it more embarrassing than that. Look at my stupid tattoo that sucks. Like, oh yeah, there you go. You definitely beat us on that one.
Those wild eyes.
Yeah, he thinks he's being funny, but he's so far gone. You know what? I have some good news for us. We need something to cheer us up, a little pick me up right now after watching those clips. And that is that Mary Beth Rosie is here.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. Look at this.
What's up, Mary Beth? Uh-oh. Do I have to unmute you or are you going to unmute you?
I can talk now.
I apologize, Carl.
I was going to say, Bryan probably is the one who puts her on mute. It's like, no,
There
this is
will be
perfect.
consequences.
This is the right
I thought
setting.
you were going to bring Cardiff on, like someone fun and exciting.
You weren't ready for that. You're the star of this show because you got to get him on here so that we can poke a dabbler together.
Ooh.
Let's go.
It's time for everyone's favorite new game show, To Poke a Dabbler. What do you say, ladies? Are you ready to poke a dabbler?
Quad, do you realize something that Kevin hasn't even figured out yet? And he's been doing this. First of all, keep in mind, Kevin Brennan never made any money with Super Chats until he saw that I was doing it. So he just he had to copycat me and follow the Duke to figure out how to make money doing this. So he owes me his fucking life. But I will say this, Pinky.
No one else was using super chats on YouTube. It was just John, and all of us were like, oh, what is it? People give you money for comments? Thanks, John. I'm going to steal
sign
that.
up for that.
What
He
an
owes his
idiot.
life for it. Come
Yes,
on.
of course. Such a moron.
That fucking, there's a little thing on the screen. Quad, when you use StreamYard, there's two buttons for your chats, for your comments.
Private, live, and then starred. Yes.
Starred. Now,
There's
Pinky,
two things. These guys suck. So stupid.
Live, and then starred. Yes.
starred. Now, Pinky would not have to sit there and go like this every day with his fucking Pinky phone and take fucking pictures. All he's got to do is go to starred, and it has every single super chat there, all laid out for you. But he hasn't even figured that out yet. I fucking text him when I fucking actually still fucking felt bad for him and told him how to do it, but he's too fucking stupid to read it and figure it out on his own because he's a moron.
Yeah,
And
I offered to just help him out back when he didn't hate my guts. Maybe February, March. I was like, yeah, if you ever need help with StreamYard stuff, I'm willing to help you out. Whatever. Stephen Liu, he jumped in there and was like, oh no, don't trust that guy. But it was like, dude, I would have helped him out just cause. But yeah, it's simple and he can't figure it out. At least he's getting his sound drops and stuff going now. But it was all sitting there waiting for him to figure out how to do it. Absolutely.
This is funny. Count Connor. Thanks for the 2 months. Album got released June 5th, pulled off shelves June 6th.
That's hilarious. No, that's cool. You got a glowing review back when Rolling Stone actually mattered back in the 90s.
Jesus Christ. Can we remind everyone that this was work this guy was doing? Apparently he didn't like John. He was just pretending to like him all this time. Look at how he's doing a show with them. This is a horrible gag that you're pulling off your quad father. What are you doing?
It was whatever was put in there was the truth.
Hey, Brennan.
What did John say next? Here are your choices.
I'm due.
Number 1, I got signed to Atlantic Records. B, I slept over at Howard's house. Did you? Next, I have 2 pensions. 4, I interviewed 2 Beatles. And lastly, I've done more than you to poke a dabbler.
This is a tough one. So they're just talking about the album release and I'm going to go, lastly, I've done more than you, and I know it's wrong, and I'm already mad at myself. What do you think, Bryan?
Since he's been talking about money so much, I'm going to go next. I think he's going to brag about his 2 pensions and he has more money than KB does.
Okay, I like that. What do you think, Mary Beth?
I think he signed to Atlantic Records.
Okay, you're
Because
going
he was
number
talking
one.
about the Rolling Stones. So.
Yep. And producer Chris?
I also went with 1, Atlantic Records.
All right, the chat has a lot of ones, a lot of lastlies. There's a next. Let's see.
Whatever was put in there was the truth.
Hey, Brennan, I interviewed 2 Beatles.
What?
Oh my
Have you?
God.
Oh my God, that's what he came up with? I even read 2 Beatles? I never would have gotten that. Damn you, potato.
He's good.
Don't
Carter.
think so. I interviewed Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney, you dumb fuck.
Is Kevin Brennan a journalist who interviews people for a living? Like, it doesn't even make
Does he
fucking
love the
sense.
Beatles? I
Yeah,
don't-
he's not a music reporter. What the fuck kind of brag is that?
Did you do the Chris Farley bit? Do you remember when you did that? Was awesome. You know, the SNL bit.
I don't
You did it with Paul McCartney.
You don't know that, John? Oh, my.
Why are you trashing me? Thanks for the $2. Why didn't you answer Rocco's question to your face at AC? It wasn't a question. He was being insulting and homophobic. And as soon as he turned the fucking camera off, I said, let's go outside, you fucking loser.
How is that homophobic?
How is it homophobic? Yeah, I was wondering the same
The
thing.
son with a vagina. And it is a question. Has he ever queefed in your face? We all want to know.
I know.
It's an easy yes or no answer. I'm a liar.
And he refused.
Has your son ever queefed in your face?
I'm appalled by your abold.
That's funny. Because asking, that wasn't a question that Rocco asked him, but him asking Ringo Starr a joke question that was written for him is an interview.
An interview. I know. I was thinking the same thing. If you were interviewed, these things like, what'd you do with the money is not an interview.
No.
It's like how he interviewed O.J. Simpson. When he's like, no, I interviewed O.J. Simpson and asked him if I could sign my knife. Like, he wasn't he wasn't even looking at you. He couldn't even hear you. He said his limo.
The trunk of the car couldn't hear you.
Yeah, you weren't interviewing anyone. You were talking in a car.
That's all for this time. Come back next time to find out if you are man enough to poke a dabbler.
Smug ass potato.
Just do it.
This is becoming a thing now.
Sit, Eugene, sit. Good dog.
I had dinner with my brother the other day, and he was like, so I didn't realize that was going to become part of the regular game on there, that video. So yeah, I don't think anyone realized that, Grant, but
But here we are.
here we are. Thanks for participating.
Who are these podcasts?